Let's talk about pizza. Last week I posted the recipe to my Instagram page and also to my website. There I made an easy pizza bread. Well, now it's time of the more in-depth secrets. Also, there is a very much eye-catching TikTok video. Watch it, it's just a few seconds. It lists almost all the ingredients and is just pretty cool. And well, if you had any desires or cravings of pizza any time of the day, I'll show you how to make it just right and the healthiest version. Exactly around 1 year ago, I also posted my first ever raw gourmet pizza following Marcus's recipe from his book, which you can see just here behind me. I brought it up. I'll put a link in the description. You can look it up and also buy it. Look at it, it's just really awesome. Like hundreds, 200s of recipes of all your favorite dishes. Much of my inspiration is from there. But oh well, I have my own way, so let's dive into it. That pizza recipe was such a success already of its own. Even my grandma liked it. Well, as you can imagine, she's like 80 years old. She is not really into, well, let's say quote-unquote modern food like this one. It was kind of a mushroom and cheesy mozzarella style. The cheese was made out of the almonds and sea moss. Fast forward today, and I'm feeling like I've mastered the secret ingredients of making pizza flavor come true anytime. Also, my buyers are quite happy with that. Also, on a side note, I'm open to orders if you live nearby, or also if you live somewhat further away, I can box them up and post it anywhere around the world. Because if the food is dehydrated, there is no water, no moisture left, there is nothing to oxidize it. It can last up to years. Also, if you are having any birthday coming up, let's say your child or whomever, yourself, I very much like making birthday cakes. Check my Instagram page again, because the latest strawberry chocolate cake was such a hit, everyone liked it. So now, let's get to the recipe part of this video, shall we? As I've already mentioned, we are making this raw, awesome pizza bread. The smell is indeed the most desiring, the best part when it's freshly taken out of the dehydrator. If you watched my TikTok video, then you know it and feel it, you can see it. Well, the technology aren't really there yet, but it's coming. So if it is dehydrated for 6 to 8 hours per side, it is not so dry. That is my favorite timing of dehydration when to consume any raw bread. Believe me, the middle part will still be fluffy, moist, just like fresh bread back in the days. I like dividing the ingredients of any raw bread into two different groups, the wet and the dry parts. A few days ago I finished writing a dedicated raw bread guide. For just a few bucks you can purchase it and master it, the whole ins and outs of it, all my secrets. For pages long I write all my secrets, all my details, and from that point onwards you can make any taste come true and come out. If you like playing with the colors, then I recommend using the golden flax seeds, but the browns will do just as well, of course. But you know, if you wanted to have the whole pizza more truish, you know, if you wanted to fool your family or whomever, let's say you presented it to someone who has never eaten raw food before, then the looks sometimes matter. Well, sadly, to some people they do really matter, so then go with the golden ones. I cannot emphasize it enough. I always grind my seeds up before using in this recipe. You could just soak it and, you know, mix them up with the wet parts and it will work as a binding agent. It's fine, but I believe, well, I do not just believe, it's even scientifically proven. I'll link up some papers into the description as well. If you don't believe me, then believe those. But it's just simple logic as well, you know, if you thought about it a bit more. That if the seeds are in fine powder, then it's much less stress to the body to absorb it. The seeds are designed by nature to go through the digestive tract, and when we poop it out, then the new plant can grow, and not for us to, you know, completely digest all the nutrients from it. It's very nutritious, but oh well, that's just the way of nature. The plant doesn't want itself to be eaten, it wants to thrive. Well, it also gives us some food, of course, and with technology we can maximize the uptake of it. My next dry ingredient was nutritional yeast. My god, again, well, I'm too excited about every ingredient, but Nutritional yeast is a must-have. Well, not so must-have, you can leave it out. Flaxseed will work just fine of its own, but if you wanted to really amp up your flavors, if you wanted to give it more cheese, well, I mean, who doesn't like cheese, right? If you wanted to impress even more people, then please never skip nutritional yeast. The more of it you add, the more cheesy it will become. It's awesome. I also do add my spices at this point to combine it into the dry part, just so they are more well separated into the bowl. My first spice to use was dried oregano. It's a natural antibiotic. I also talked about it in more detail in my previous video. I put up a link up here. But for now, let's just stick to it in simple terms. If it's fresh, the flavors are much stronger and, well, some people like it, some people don't. I do very much. I try to put oregano everything. Same thing with the basil. I went with dried basil. Again, use fresh if you can. I couldn't, it wasn't really in season, nor the people are selling it at the farmer's market, but the taste was quite astonishing. I just love it. My third spice, which isn't really a spice, is just a pinch of kelp. Well, it's a seaweed. I like adding it up just to amp up the micronutrients. Also, if you looked at the chronometer data for all the ingredients for this recipe, everything is tenfold hit, surpassed, so what could be more healthy than this? Then to finish up the spices, just a tiny bit of black pepper and salt to taste. Now onto the wet ingredients, shall we? Very simple, chop up your ingredients and throw into the blender. 1 large zucchini, a half or a medium cauliflower, 3 sticks of carrots. You could also add the greens of it, of course. I've talked about it in my previous video. Watch it if you haven't already. Then just 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. Apple cider vinegar goes really well to anything, believe me. It lowers blood sugar levels. There's like millions of positive benefits of it. Add it to any dish you eat, again. Then followed up by throwing 4 to 5 large tomatoes in. Well, some people put the tomato sauce onto their pizza. Mine will have already in it in the dough, let's say it like that, and it won't make even your child messy if he or she ate it. Red onions and garlic, that is what I've finished up the wet part. I'd say also to taste, add them to taste. 1 onion and 3-4 cloves of garlic is a pretty safe bet. That it won't become too spicy, but also, well, feel free to add more if you like those spices. Blended it all up on high for a minute until they become completely like of water texture, no texture, nothing, is just pure water. Then added a whole medium head of Greek lettuce, which was previously roughly chopped up. And now comes my most secret ingredient of all, it is the sun-dried tomatoes. I like the ones which come in olive oil. Sadly, not many come. Most of the time they use sunflower oil. Well, it's not so good. I don't really recommend it, but oh well, sometimes we gotta use what we have. But anyways, the sun-dried tomatoes will kick up the flavors to the whole nother level of the pizza filling. So throwing these two into our blender and then just roughly pulsing it a few times, that it won't become water again, but we will still feel some of the texture. Well, it depends on you, like how much texture you want to preserve, or if you don't want. So now what? You guessed it. We pour the wet part into our dry part and mix and combine it all together. Nothing could be more simple, right? Well, it really is just that simple. And as in 99% of my recipes, get a non-stick dehydrator sheet, pour all this combined mixture dough onto it, lay it even like half an inch, maximum an inch thick. The thickness depends on you, like, you know, if you want it like more crunchy, then make it thinner. If not, the opposite. Now it is the creative part. You could form a nice circle and make it into real pizza. This recipe is about bread slices, so will make like 3 horizontal and 3 vertical lines and then just make 9 slices. But anyways, I like the idea of forming a nice large pizza circle and making it into a proper one. Like, I would love to fool some friends with that, so subscribe for that and don't miss the video. So now, into the dehydrator, it all goes, as mentioned in the beginning of this video, for like minimum 6 to 8 hours per side. After that, it's quite good, it's the perfect consistency that I like, but if you shipped it to a friend, if you shipped it for later usage, let's say you made like a whole batch enough for a month, then I would recommend dehydrating for 24 hours per side. Then it will be like it will be quite like a cracker. Well, you can always moist it up later, so I believe it's better to completely dehydrate and then remoist afterwards, because then it's 100% guaranteed that it won't go bad. And that's it. It's really this simple. I said it all what I wanted, so now you guys can also make it. Please share your feedback in the comment, get subscribed, like, dislike, share it with a friend who loves pizza very much but doesn't know how to make it healthy. Then this is the way, and see you guys in the next one.